bang the guru bama zindi hong hong 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 bang the guru bama zindi hong bang the guru bama zindi hong hong bang the guru bama zindi hong hong bang the guru bama zindi 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 hong Bang the girl, bam as in the 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 hong. Amitabha, 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 Amitabha,
All right, everybody, warm welcome to this special session, Rainbow Body Sangha. Good to meet again. And grateful to Sandhya for making an effort to get us inspiring teachers. And today we have with us Venerable Trudeau. And so thank you, Venerable, for agreeing to talk to our Sangha. This is a group of people in India and other countries as well. And we are eager to learn and practice the Dharma. And so today the topic we've chosen in consultation with you is shake up and wake up.
Okay.
Today's topic is shake up and wake up. And Venerable Trudeau here is become a bit of a celebrity monk because during the pandemic, he began using some of the social media apps, especially TikTok, to share teachings, which I think is quite unorthodox, but he obviously touched many lives because very quickly he got over 1 million followers. I don't know what your current number of followers is, but he's been using social media to really share the Dharma, and that's what made him very popular. And he's just like at every given time, the teachers use whatever's available to share things in a way that's helpful. So he's been doing that. So we're very grateful to you for joining us, and I'd like to now hand it over to you. If you want to start with a traditional Namo Tassa or anything that you like, happy to go with that. Yeah.
Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Thank you so much for having me. Well, this morning, which is in the U.S., and I think it's 7:30 p.m. over there, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, wake up, shake up, and wake up. This is a passionate topic of mine. As I am, I don't know if you guys have seen over the past couple of weeks, but I've been wanting to teach death meditation again. I taught death meditation passionately before COVID, and now still in the midst of COVID, and with all these things going on in the world, I figured that I should select some of the most potent teachings that the Buddha left us in order to get people to realize that they don't have a lot of time, and to prioritize what needs to be prioritized, study what needs to be studied, practice what needs to be practiced, and know what needs to be known. It's a lot of anxiety here in the United States as everyone is watching a lot of things unfold on the news. And now the news is more graphic than ever before on CNN, with bodies littering the streets in Ukraine. So, well, we briefly spoke about this, Shanti and myself, Mr. Shanti and myself. And I believe that it's my standpoint that if you internalize the one thing that is certain, internalize, known, face that one fear, especially when it comes to end of life, death, I believe that it makes you limitless. When you have seen death, actually, yeah, we're meaning witnessing. When you have seen it for yourself, when you fully internalize it, when you know what to expect, and you live the good life equals a good death. When you internalize death, you can actually know how to live. Here, people in the West and elsewhere around the world, they live as if death is not looming in the background. And so they take each other for granted. They watch Netflix a lot, Amazon Prime a lot, a lot of these things that waste time. And I see a lot of accumulated despair as a direct result of not having this reminder that people are running out of time. And in the details of that, with the timing in our lives, is forgiving and asking for forgiveness. All of these beautiful things that the Dhamma teaches us, people just tend to forget, don't go back to the text, and they live their life just, I don't know. It's like a chicken without a head. It's just running around until something strikes them, until death looms with someone that is close by, nearby, maybe COVID, a heart attack, impending health, a prognosis from cancer. I've never seen a record of deaths so much this year on social media, because social media is like experimental psychology. It's like experimental science. If you pay close attention to it, it can be used as a measuring rubric. And I've had social media since MySpace ever came out. So that's a long time. It's like 15, 16 years. And when someone passes away is because everyone posts it, and very sad, or their profile picture would be all black and indicating grief and mourning times. It wasn't too long ago that I spoke to a monk, a Venerable Vinita of California, from another Sangha group. And I briefly met, I didn't even know he was a monk, because his profile picture indicated as if he was a layman. And so I get messages all the time. So I just brushed it off. He called, but didn't indicate why. And then when I spoke to him, finally picked up the phone in December, he wanted me to give a talk just like this in front of people just like you guys in California. And I recently learned that he passed away. I still haven't spoken to his senior teacher, and it was just so sudden. It was just so sudden. I'm human just like all of you, so there was a sense of sadness, because he was just a very beautiful human being when he spoke on the phone. And just like that, I just had his funeral pictures up the other day on my page. So I became a monk because my grandmother passed away in 2015, followed by my best friend Jacob Hall. And that shook me up. That shook me up. Now I can see most of our viewers here is a little bit older than I am. I'm only 34. So you guys can only imagine that at age 20, if I subtract 6 years from now, somewhere around 28, 29 or something like that. I was still living a life that was, I don't know, a young gentleman would consider bulletproof, right? Like nothing's going to faze me. Everyone lives forever. I myself will live forever. It's a very foolish way of thinking. because they don't teach us this in school here in America. And every time when I go to the temple, I don't understand what the monk is saying. So, and it shook me up, and the manner of death and the timing of my grandmother's death was what was so baffling to me. As that morning, everything was fine. And then I said, Grandma, let's go get your medication at CVS pharmacy. When she sat in the back, and for some reason, she started to get, lightheaded. But it was, you knew that she was in trouble when, her head was like this in a very resting position in the back seat of my Toyota. And I said, uh-oh. So she said, stop the car, I need to throw up. So she threw up. And then we were in front of the hospital. CVS pharmacy is right in front of Northside Hospital. So I stopped for her to throw up, and I said, okay, all right, it's time to go in the ER. And so in the ER we go, and everything was fine. Vital signs was fine. And then she told me this. She said, I don't want to leave you. I said, what are you talking about? Your vitals fine. You're going to be out of here in no time. This is probably a hiccup or something, And then she says, my feet's cold. Can you massage my feet? And I said, okay. Okay, all right. I mean, she's 81. And then my mom came into the hospital. I said, Grandma, listen, Mom's right outside the door. I'm just going to grab her real quick. And as soon as I turned and I said, Mom, this way, and I turned back over this way, my grandmother had the heart attack right away. And I saw her eyes roll in the back of her head. She clenched her hands like this, and she went like this. And I was like, uh-oh. And the ER doctor was a young gal, probably an intern. And I was like, Doc? Even the doctor froze up. So I rushed towards my grandmother, and I realized she was in trouble. Then I was a lifeguard for the city of Clearwater. So I ripped her shirt so that I knew that they would need the AED machine to zap her. And that's when I said, okay, all right, I want her out of the room so they can start working on her. I bear through and then what's even more baffling is that during the course of all of this, you get this Indian doctor that comes in. That's when you know somebody's really in trouble, because you have all these young doctors there that's just like doing CPR, and all the nurses, they all look very concerned. You can tell they're somewhat of a rookie. I mean, probably not like 10-year kind of rookie, not like 10 months kind of rookie. And you get this, I saw this guru walk in. You could tell a guru Indian doctor when he walks in, right? It's because he has this look on his face, like I've been through life look. And you realize, uh-oh, this is the man that's going to decide someone lives or not, or what to do, or surgery or not. And he was a mile away, but his face, you can see the impression it looked like he was right here next to you. And I realized, oh, this is not good. So her heart was stopped, and then come back, and then stop, and then come back. And then as the Buddhist monks were coming in, seeing these colors come in was one of the most warmest thing ever. And her heart stopped in the middle of going to the cath lab of surgery. So everyone stopped, and the monks stopped, and everyone backed up. So I thought they were going to have to zap her again. And then you see the line just go back up again. I was like, I don't know what's happening. Every 15 minutes, the doctor's coming in and out, and the doctor is saying, no, she's gone. And then they come back, and I said, we got her back, but she's very sick. And then another 15 minutes, I couldn't tell you how many times they walk in and out of that room telling us that she's back, and then she's gone, she's back, and then she's gone. Finally, the doctor says, I need you guys to make a decision now, because even if we do get her back, there's a likely chance that so much oxygen level is being lost that she will have brain damage, or would, lose sensation from the neck down. And I said, Okay, doc. Well, she's 81, and I've talked to my parents. My mom's in shock. My dad's calm. I am somewhat calm. Well, I have to stay calm so that she stays calm. And I said, go ahead and pull the plug. And the doctor says, okay, alrighty. So he walks back. And he walks back to me, and I'm like, yes. And he said, well, before we can even pull the plug, she already made up her mind. So she already left. I said, okay. And he says, well, the family would like to see her one last time. And I said, sure. And it was very cold walking into the cath lab, because it was like a lab unlike any other. It was very state of the art. There was a big dish. I guess that's like the light that they need to see inside of a human body. So I walked up to my grandmother, and my eyes are like this big. And by that time, we've already have all of my friends surrounding, because I knew that we were going to need the social support. You know, I'm on my senior year at Eckerd College, and we've already done death and dying perspective. So I stepped into college studying death and dying and psychology, because I think it was going to make me bulletproof. I'm like, well, yeah, we humans have emotions, and if I study emotions, I would be bulletproof to emotions in life, the things that just come at me, some of these bows and arrows that will come in life at me. So I got my friends, I went on Facebook, I said, y'all need to come here now, because it's going down today. And the nature and language that I use is not what I use every day. So my friends knew something was wrong. So they all gathered, and I said, you guys direct your attention to my mom. Okay, I'm fine. Just grab her. Just, you know. So my mom went from, I guess, 60 years old to like 90, being escorted into the cath lab. And I saw a lot of trauma to the body, meaning the body is swollen from working on them. Now, we know doctors, most doctors, probably 99% of them, have somewhere on their body tattooed no code, right? Somewhere in their wallet, no code. No code meaning don't work on me. If my heart stops, leave it alone. Just let me be, because they're using so much medical instrument to preserve the body. Anyways, so I got to touch her hand, and the monks chanted, Anicca Vata Sankhara Ukdavaya Dhammino Pachitwaniro Jantite de Sankho Vasumosuko. Yeah, and that was that. Yeah, I've seen funerals before. I was fortunate enough to have shadowed with a Mahayana monk in Vietnam, which is where you really see the body, but it was different seeing my grandmother. And then what was really real was the cremation process. At the time, we didn't have a lot of money, and plus I wanted to keep it simple anyways. I just wanted to keep it how the Buddha would want it, which is, in the funeral home, try to sell me a really expensive casket and doves and all of this. I'm like, no, I'm going to borrow a casket. You understand? I just want her in a cardboard box. And then when we cremate, we take her out, and then in we go, just like how they do it in Thailand, where barks and sticks underneath the body. So this is as close as it's ever going to get. And when I realized I wasn't going to see her again at the cremation was when I was like, wow, that's it. This is the moment of dissolution of the body. What I learned from my grandmother's death and Jacob's death, and I touched Jacob at the funeral home, and I realized this wasn't him, because they have put formaldehyde in the body and it was so stiff and hard. So these things really shake a person up. And I realized the non-self in those moments. I realized that, wow, they're not them anymore. And when I saw their death, I saw my impending death. Then when I mean, just everything, the practice of the non-self, the anatta, impermanence, suffering, and control, the three marks of existence came to me. I mean, it was like splash of fresh air of Dhamma. Talk about realizing the Dhamma right there and then. So I relooked at things. I rethought about my life. And I realized that some changes need to be made here, because we've seen some of these very common regrets that people have in regards to death and dying. And they said that they wish they worked less. They wish that they loved more. They spent more time with their loved ones. They did more for themselves, enjoy life more. We get on this hamster wheel, especially here in America, and we just live constantly going. Samsara. Samsaric cycle of working. Samsaric cycle of treating one another. So yeah, in my whole life, I've actually tried not to waste a lot of time. As a young student, I was always veered towards philosophy, just trying to make sense of life. Like, what is life? What is the meaning of life? What is purpose in life? So every chance I got in life, I would actually study. When I was a jeweler, you sit there all day waiting for people to walk in to make a sale. And I was in training, so my manager would, any big sales he would grab, and I would just listen a lot to hear the techniques and strategies, selling a diamond or rock. And on my downtime, I would take the newspaper and I would read. And sometimes you get to the obituaries, and I would read, celebrating the life of the late Jonathan Hicks or something, so on and so on. And you learn a lot from reading their life. And it's very real when you read the obituaries, where they've been, what they've done, how they contributed to humanity, society, how many children they've had, what was their occupation, and who they left behind. And so, I really try to inch closer and closer to realize my own legacy. Everyone wants to live a legacy. Or at least, leave something behind of memory, of good memory. Be remembered as the person who gave more and took less. Be remembered that, was a beloved mother, was a beloved sister, was a beloved father, was a beloved son, someone who volunteered at the hospital, someone that helped homeless people. These are just beautiful things that is pronounced, that is written about any human I have found. And then somewhere down the line, you're like, well, maybe good people do really go first, because all I'm reading is really good stuff about people. Rarely do you read. Well, I mean, you do read bad stuff too on the news. Bank robberies, getting shot. But yeah, they say was it last year or a year and a half ago, I jumped into a casket. I walked to a funeral home, and I said, I need to give a couple teachings, and I was wondering if I can just lay in your casket. And the funeral says, sure, why not? Come on. And he says, you are the first person I put in here upright. And I said, oh, all right. So he was an African-American gentleman that's been a funeral director for a long time, 40 years. Matter of fact, his funeral home says mortuary. It doesn't even say funeral home, because the word funeral is later. And I apologize. It's part of the urgent care monk talk 911. I don't know how to bring. You guys can still see me, right? Okay, all right. Maybe I need to lower this.
We can see you and hear you.
Oh, yeah. All right. Everything is linked to the FaceTime thing. So he's very seasoned gentleman. So he sat in the back, and after he lowered me, I didn't realize you can lower it, like the mechanics of the coffin. And I was like, well, this is pretty cool. And then he sat to the right while observing me give my teachings. And he got up after 30 minutes of me teaching while my students is recording me in the casket. I still haven't released these videos because I'm still screening the appropriateness of it. I don't, Vietnamese Theravada monks are a little bit more particular when it comes to their students experimenting with certain things and the image it projects. So he got up and he came up to the casket and he looked at me and he says, you know, what you say is really true. And in my years of being a director, you know, how people live usually determine how they die. And I was like, oh, so I touched up on karma. I'm really heavy on the teachings of karma as I've been studying it and observing it empirically, scientifically. How we live typically determine how we die. Wow. So you know, for a young man like me, you know, we're reflecting on, well, this is the age group of in our 20s and so on and so on. We have a lot of foolish friends. We have good friends, foolish friends. And yeah, you live a life of a drug dealer. You can guarantee that's getting shot on the way out is most likely going to be a thing. And if you live a life of peace and harmony and in harmony with others, you're sure to lay rest around your family, warm in your bed, and on your way out. So when we look at the details of the recollection, anussati, and sati, mindfulness, awareness, and the recollection of death, when we talk about asubha kamatana, death meditation, you know, we humans, we simply forget. Simply put, we forget a lot of things. And it depends on the factors in your life that affects your memory in just one day. So much happens in just one day. The existence of grandson, granddaughters, the existence of you know, work, job, emails, everything that we have to tend to. We get lost into our spiritual realm. We get lost into, oh, do I remember certain things, what I need to do? You know, what do I have to do? What do I don't have to do? And I realized there's a lot of meditation in Theravada Buddhism when we look at from samadhi all the way into vipassana meditation and into the details of the four foundations of mindfulness. When we look at the breath, when we look at the details of the breath, it was like an academic study, just reviewing it from how long our breath, the rate and rhythm of our breath, okay, all the way to mental objects and Dhamma, worldly phenomenons, how certain things arises. There's so much to recollect there. So it's my hope that we bring this meditation back, because I don't believe that people meditate on this particular meditation often. People tend to run away from, you know, the true nature of reality, particularly death. I mean, who wants to think of that when you can listen to music and entertainment and all of these things designed for us to, you know, mask the unpleasantness of life. But I assert that when you face it, well, at least if you face it right one last time and revisit it from time to time, that it will enrich your life. It will really much enrich your life. It's like we're like a ticking time bomb. And we look at medical research, when we look at, I mean, just WebMD, the Mayo Clinic, John Hopkins. I don't know. Maybe I'm different, where our religious is mind and body. So sometimes I study the human body, chemistry and biology, and I realize, or particularly for us men, right? Since we have a lot of women here on the on the Sangha here is that research shows that women live longer than men. Women have less problem than men, physically and mentally, and men are the total opposite. And after age 40, we kind of go downhill. We deteriorate both mind and body. And my parents, with the existence of high blood pressure, and now at this stage of their life, they're also watching their friends pass away through all sorts of illness, stroke, cancer. These are very prevalent things that's happening. Whether or not we are vegetarianism or vegan, or very aware of MSGs that we're putting into our bodies, we try to use the best available science to live a good life, a good, healthy life, a well-balanced life with exercise and everything. But we can see that, we can only do so much, and we're within the realm of genetics, heredity, things that our parents may have that pass down onto us. And then furthermore, with the workings of karma, it depends on your karmic debt, and it chooses its own time to ripen. So when you tie all of this together, that, where I'm at with the age that I'm at, if I'm 40, if I'm 50, if I'm 60, heck, if I'm even 30, I've had a friend that had cancer in his 20s. And I we grew up watching each other grow up, and I was like, what? How did you get, I don't get it. So none of us exempt, some of these factors of death. When are we going to die? Where are we going to die? And how are we going to die? And when we recollect that, using our supreme intelligence, the way how I teach and the way how we should approach Dhamma is with supreme level of intelligence and supreme level of wisdom, and a collection of what we have gotten in life so far, where we're at. Everything we have observed, everything that we have seen is data that we have gathered to make an informed decision. Every year you should be wiser than the last. Every year you should make better decisions than the last. Every year you should make more effective and more efficient than the last. You're the wise. That's what Dhamma is all about. All, the threefold training. Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. So, and everyone's watching you too. Even if you don't want to be wise, you got to realize they're all looking at you. It's the older we are, the younger generation is looking at us like, yeah, you're the elders. Yeah, we're watching us. So we're like role models, whether we like it or not. And this is how we inspire others also, is that when we use our intelligence, when we practice Dhamma the right way, effectively, we inspire other people around us to also follow the path in the Dhamma. And it enriches their life, the quality of their life. When we forgive, we inspire other people to forgive. When we ask for forgiveness, they also ask for forgiveness. This is one thing about the Theravada tradition that's really beautiful, especially in Thailand, is that at the conclusion of the apprenticeship stage, and after 5 years shadowing with a teacher, well, in the beginning, they've already taken each other as burdens, the Kalyana Mitta. So, the teacher asked the student asked the teacher, may I be your burden? And then vice versa. And then at the conclusion of the apprenticeship, will be a good burden, don't be a pain in the butt kind of burden. And at the conclusion of the apprenticeship, which is like the most beautifulest thing, is when the student asks the teacher for forgiveness, is that for all the things that I have done, either intentionally or unintentionally, that I know not of what I did, may I be forgiven if I've ever said anything to you based on the nature and tone of my voice, the manner it was said. If I did something that perhaps offended you, may I ask for that forgiveness now before I depart from your supervision. And what's so beautiful is the teacher also does the reciprocal, which is, yeah, if I've also been really harsh on you, and in times of you learning, may I also ask for that forgiveness. So every time when I talk about this, I get this emotional thing where, you know, it makes me teary-eyed, is because we don't do that in life. We don't do that in life because we go back to the atta, the self, the ego, where, you know, we feel entitled that the apology should be bestowed to us, but yet we don't owe any apologies. We always want to be right. We humans, we always want to be right. You know, one must ask, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? Would you do the right thing or would you do what you really want to do? If you're married and you ask these questions, it's just like, you know, would you rather be happy or would you rather be right? You know, behind me is a couch. Would you rather be happy or would you rather couch at night? You know, doing the right thing or doing what you really want to do. It takes a lot of reflection. It's part of intelligence and wisdom. And being human is being, you know, the humility to say that, yeah, you know, I think that I am wrong in that too. And that I did contribute to some of your suffering too. And as we talk about human relationships here, we realize that, well, in relationships, in the eyes of the Buddha, we look at contributions anyways. We look at how the husband contributes to, you know, the downfall of the relationship, and the wife's contribution to the downfall of the relationship. So it's a 50-50 contribution. Maybe it's a little bit higher on one end, you know, it kind of oscillates a little bit. But I think it's beautiful when this is how you repair any sort of relationship, right? Is to forgive and ask for that forgiveness. Really honest with the communication. It's not what we say, it's also how we say it. So what if we don't ask for forgiveness? What if I rather be right? I don't want to ask for forgiveness, I'd be right. Well, what happened if you wake up in the morning and the other person does not? It's too late. It's too late. And so my grandmother, back to my grandmother, was that I reflected deeply in some of these questions that we ask is, did I do the best I could when I was with her? Is there any more I could have done? And I concluded with my best friend, Jacob Paul. And what I left out, and I'll tell you guys, was along the way, ever since becoming a monk, I lost Mark Dupree to cancer, Andrew Serrano to brain cancer. Oh my God. I lost a friend named Air due to murder here in St. Pete. I've lost a lot. And then I reflected and I said, you know, with all these people in my life, that I did the best I possibly could. Was there any more I could have done? And if you've never reflected on these ever before, it will come to you. It will be like a little life review between your relationship, between you and them. And after today's talk, everyone has an opportunity to change the course of your relationship with people and with yourself. You know, even Angulimala, right? The guy that killed a lot of people, you know, he changed. So I'm pretty sure there's no Angulimalas on here. But no matter the mistakes that we've made in our lives, it's never too late to turn back around and change the course of everything. And you realize the weight on your shoulder will diminish, will slowly unload, paving the way for you to truly live when you forgive and ask for forgiveness. And additionally, move on about life enthusiastically, blessed with health, blessed with eyes, nose, ears. You know, some of these questions that I get. A matter of fact, my first podcast by Mr. Francisco, he says, "What makes you jump out of bed in the morning, Venerable?" And I say, well, first and foremost, the gratefulness of the ability to see. Because a lot of people wake up this morning not being able to see. A lot of people wake up in the morning suffering a stroke right there in their bed. So when we open our eyes and we can feel the warmth of the sun on our face and the temperature of the air in the room, and if you can wiggle your toes, and if you don't have a toothache, that's a happy life. And if you have $5 in your pocket, that is $5 more than millions of, probably billions of people. And if you have $20 in your wallet, that's additional billions that people don't have right now. All right, when we see the littlest tiny things in our life, it brings joy to us. But when we see that nothing is ever good enough, and you know, I want more, I want more, I want more. What more do you want? So in comforting my mom, my dad said, my dad's very real. He's a professor. He's a very realistic man. One of the most very enlightened being, not Buddha enlightenment, but academically enlightened, and as enlightened as you're ever going to get as a human. My dad looked at my mom. My dad said, "She's 81. What more do you want?" Which is true, because grandma was born in 1935. So research shows that she's past that centennial age. We now live a little longer through the advancement of medicine, but even for my dad now, he's considered a centennial because he went through the war and all the factors affecting his longevity. So yeah, hopefully after today's talk, everyone kind of recalibrates everything and look at the Four Noble Truths, right? You don't have to be Buddhist. Just look at it. We borrow some of these teachings, beautiful teachings, reflections, guided reflections, actually. I mean, sometimes I think you don't even need a therapist, because if you read the scriptures, right, it's like guided therapy. It's like you have your own therapist right there in the Nikayas. And when you look at the Four Noble Truths and the type of meditation, you see that, we see our suffering. We're like, yeah, I get it, right? We see there's changes in our lives. We see our desire, and having an honest conversation with that desire, and if it affects how it affects your peace as a direct result of that desire, the desire to be right, the desire in wanting more. I want my daughter to marry a different guy. I want this, I want that, so on and so on. When we make a list, literally, if you make a list, I'm very hands-on and experiential. I like for my students to see it. First Noble Truth. Yeah, we get it. You get it. You get it. What do you get? This is where I become sad guru. Yeah, sometimes I become sad guru very quickly. I'm this young, nice teacher, and I'm like, yeah, really dandy. But then when it comes to like the study of the Four Noble Truth, if you've ever seen sad guru, he gets straight to the point very quickly. He's a guru. Yeah, he has the right to be. And that's the Theravada side of us. And when they're like, these American students are like, I get it. You get it. What's the first noble truth? What is it? Old age, disease, decay, death, birth. Have you seen birth? Have you? Where have you seen birth? Old age. Old age. Where have you seen old age? And I look around the room and they all look at me like, so I make them go out in society and I make them volunteer at a nursing home. So they really see the wrinkly in the skin and the you know, the nature and tone of voice of people who have lived through life. I said, sit with Mr. Jones and interview Mr. Jones and see where he's been in life. And come back and tell me that you've seen it, fully have seen it. So they get a kick out of that. You know, it's difficult being a Dhamma teacher, any teacher, is because each student is different stages of their life, different growth and development. You know, at the time of this talk, a lot of people could be dealing with death themselves, loss of a loved one, new to Dhamma, seasoned in Dhamma. And so, you know, we have to select the right one to see. Hopefully we hit some points and areas, you know, throwing these out. Any questions so far? I know I've been talking for 50 minutes straight in regards to the subject of death, meditation, Four Noble Truth, waking up.
Yeah, let's invite some questions, and you will be guiding us through a guided death meditation or reflection process, isn't it, Venerable?
We can, yes.
Yeah. So let's take a few questions, and then you'll be guiding us on that. Anybody has any comments or questions? Give them a second to write them down or to ask. You can also raise your hand if you want to be unmuted.
Is it on my screen that we have 3, 4, 5? I see 5 on my screen.
No, it's much more than that. We're about 47 right now on this Zoom call.
Oh, okay.
And also we have more on the on YouTube. We have several people, another 13 on YouTube right now. And I'm sure many will watch the recording as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. It tells you how much I know about technologies, and this is how you know a monk practices right? Because if I knew more about the Zoom than you guys do, then maybe I haven't been practicing meditation.
Well, you know more about TikTok, so that's a down one for you. You know too much about TikTok. You know more about TikTok than you're supposed to.
Well, I wish I could add music and all these effects that they have there. Like when I say first noble truth, and like it appears first noble truth, and second, you know, you got all these effects I don't know how to do. But yeah, I gave a lot of talks on it's the only way to promote Dhamma. Like Sadhguru says, this is our time. We have to make the best out of this time, the time that we have right now. And you see that he moved away from conventional modality operating as a guru, and now he's on a motorcycle, and you know he's this cool guy that all the young people want to learn from and follow, and they're like, oh my god, he's so awesome, he's a guru on a motorcycle, and he has his beard, and he when he laughs, when he chuckles, his whole body moves, and everyone wants to laugh with him, you know. And I aim to be a different type of Theravada teacher, which is number one, smile more. You know, Theravada teachers, as you know, Mr. Shanti, they don't really smile in Thailand or Vietnam or anywhere else. And it's very
You're
dry.
not supposed to. I think people here don't know that Theravada monks, it's not good to show your teeth in a photograph. In a photograph, your teeth should not be visible. That's one of the things. Yeah. So you can have a gentle smile. It's supposed to be not good form to show your teeth.
Yeah. So I aim to change that. I want it to be the face of change, because we're teaching happiness. Everything the Buddha gave us happiness, you know. And then some of my students, you know, when I wear red robes on Valentine's Day, they're like, "Oh wow, that's really very romantic color right there." And I said, "Do you know what this means?" Said, this means death. You know, this means death. So the image, the teachings is already really kind of morbid. The fact that they understand what the robes mean. So the teacher have to create the atmosphere of happiness and welcome and harmony and energy, put some energy into it, you know, because I mean, who wants to sit there in a cemetery and feel all of these energy that's there already? Yeah. But I believe that each teacher have an energy with them that they bring with them, and they bring their group with them. The same energy that people felt when the Buddha walked the earth, and there was something, you know, radiant about him. So it's very important that a teacher walk the path and really fully internalize it and bring everyone with them. And as I'm moving with this series, I'm taking all of my students with me into the cemetery. And I didn't want to scare you guys, but I have a real skeleton 10 feet away from me named Stan, a full-size skeleton from head to toe. And it's up to you guys.
Can you turn your camera? Can we see it?
Oh, you guys want to see it? Okay. All right.
I want to see it.
All right, come here, Stan. Stan is really brittle and fragile because he's 75 years old, at least.
Stan is calling.
Yeah, probably. Stan's telling me, don't play with me right now. So you guys can see me. Okay, all right. So I have a lot of media set up here. So let me move some things around real quick. Where does this go? Oh, this is. Oh, that is YouTube. This is my laptop.
Wonderful. Stan's got a shirt.
You see his teeth? His teeth is an indication that he is super real. So I kind of covered him up so that it wouldn't be too much walking in and you realize this wants to be a real human being. It kind of freaks people out, but so I covered him up with a lab coat. But I'm actually getting a casket, and I'm gonna put Stan in there because I think he's been erected for 75 years. I think he wants to rest. So I have ingenious ways of teaching, right? You got to find all sorts of ingenious ways of teaching. But just imagine you guys got to see Stan. Will your hand reach this far? Yeah, his hand's right here. So just imagine seeing Stan in a casket, and you approach the casket and you touch the casket, right? And you see Stan. When you visualize, right, in the Vajrayana tradition, they visualize a lot. When you see Stan, do you see you? I've actually gone as far as wanting to put Stan on the floor where I lay, sleep, because when I wake up, I want to see him. When I see him, I want to see me. It's a direct reflection of me. I mean, that's us. We just have, skin and eyeballs, but I don't know, Theravada, sometimes we get a little bit morbid to really get the point of impermanence and constant reminders of that. Do we have any questions so far? Or
we have Preeti who has a question or a comment. Yeah, Preeti, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Venerable. So my father has been diagnosed with his second cancer, and it's something that nothing's working. So we're just, in the process of, he's been given time, quite a bit of time, 80 months or so, according to the doctors, which is quite a bit. Though cognitively we understand that death is looming and everything we understand here in the head, but experientially, how do you bring it into everyday? How do you, is there anything we can do to support him through the process? I don't know. I mean, that's the question.
Okay, I just figured out how to I can see everyone on here. I can see all your faces now. Previously, I only saw 5. Now I just got to see everyone. Oh, this is so beautiful. Okay, so one more time with the question.
So she said that her father has cancer for the second time. And you want to just ask the last part of your question, Preeti?
Yeah. So one, I wanted to understand, how do I experientially accept the process? I mean, it's not like it's happening now. I mean, I don't know, whenever it's happening, right? And how can we support him through the process of accepting death when it happens?
So it's a beautiful thing having a second chance or surviving it first time, because after first time, everyone's like, shoo, oh my goodness, what a roller coaster. And then the second time around, now everyone is better prepared for it. From the family aspect is that, I'm pretty sure you guys got everything in order to maximize every second you have with him.
Yeah.
And to take him places where he wants to go. It's very hard, and it's not easy as I'm telling you this, because I'm not in your shoes, right?
Yeah.
To absorb the teachings of today. The first noble truth is difficult to swallow, and it is the true nature of reality of the human body to produce cancer cells. Simply put, it is the true nature of reality of us humans to suffer in some way, shape, or form, and to be subject to it. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. But in your father's case, is happening. Is happening. Now, where people compound their suffering with the existence of cancer is resistance to that fact.
Yeah.
So many times for example, in my life, matter of fact, in 2018, 2019, I was in the hospital 40 times. The medical bills for me alone, $200,000, $250,000.
Wow.
And every time I went in, I actually thought I was going to die. I have all sorts of, it's my karma. So all sorts of stomach issues. It's just really weird symptoms. I was a hunter when I was younger. So of course, the teachings of karma came back, and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to have to ride this sentence out. I took every opportunity I could while an IV is stuck in me and my body's resting. And you go back to my Facebook, you see me teaching in the ER, trying to expound every word I possibly can, take a break, wake up, activate it again to teach. I wanted to teach up until the last moment of death, even if I was going to die. So I accepted it. I accepted that, yeah, I knew what I did in the past. I know what's happening now. I'm not going to resist it because I have a choice. And when people have cancer, or they have stroke, or they have any sort of disease, or amputations, or diabetes, or they resist it. They're like, remember, we're very self-involved. Why me? Why now? This is not fair. I should not be having this. I have a daughter. I am not ready to go. I do not want to go.
Yeah.
And that was my grandmother's attitude at the moment of death. So she has to have taken unfavorable rebirth because of that desire at the moment of death. When she says, I don't want to lose you or your mom. And she said, like, it was a lightning bolt when she says that. I turned around and I said, why would you say that? Your vital's fine. Like, what's wrong with you? And then when she clenched her fist and she screamed in the midst of the heart attack, that means her consciousness was still going while the body is failing rapidly. So that is also an empirical observation and indication of, I'm grasping on, I don't want to go. I don't want to let go, and not the acceptance. So while he is still alive, alert, conscious, and breathing normally, it's wise that everyone lead him into fully understanding the first noble truth and letting go of any desires, which is the second noble truth, right? And then pain and suffering will be mitigated tremendously when we let go. And your whole family unit will be more at peace when he lets go peacefully. I couldn't tell you how many families were very disheartened. The reports that they tell me is, yeah, she was not ready to go. Oh, she was mad. Oh, she has some unfinished business. So here's a good time to really have very deep, meaningful conversations. And some parents are really stubborn. So you have to find, this is where we borrow right speech under the Noble Eightfold Path, to be really skillful and meticulous with the vocabularies. And it's not what we say, it's how we say it. And even talking to them alone provokes suffering within us, because we know history about our parents. And it's so hard trying to get them to understand where we're coming from. But keep trying. This is where the phoenix rise within the daughter and the son, and the responsibility of the daughter, to really swallow your pride, to really put your parents first before one's own needs, and really get them to fully understand what's happening. And it's just, hey, dad, you know this, right? And then this is where you pull some of the teachings out from Hindu, from Christianity, from Buddhism, you know, and you talk about forgiveness, and you talk about, look, it's been one heck of a life, right, Dad? You know, and then you challenge them with questions. The more stubborn they are, you ask them. You ask them with question design, which is, Dad, is it true, Dad, that in life we are subject to disease? So even if he said no, you can say, well, I mean, so you got this guy called the Buddha, remember him, Gautama? He says even the healthiest person on earth gets sick at least once. And of course, we all can tell, we all eat sugar. So we're not the healthiest humans right now sitting here. So we're going to get sick multiple times, you know, and as we get, you know, as we consume things, and isn't it the nature of the body to produce disease? It's the bacteria is on our skin right now. And just, do you see that, Dad? Do you see that? You know, the more you accept this, you know, with the time and stuff like that, you can smile more instead of, you know, this grumpy thing. Right? So without having to see him, I can only imagining, you know, what's going on at home. But, you know, people are rarely happy with the existence of such disease. So, you know, I believe that if you use all of the teachings combined together, eclectic approach, you got to be really skillful at it. And it's going to be very rewarding once you see him let go, rewarding. And even if we don't get what we, you know, trying to achieve here, knowing that you did the best you possibly could with all the patience and endurance in dealing with a stubborn dad, for example, you know, then, then you won't have any regrets after he departs towards the sun, and you realize, I did the best I could with the time that I had with him, with the resources that is available to me, which is the Dhamma. And there's nothing more I could have done within my realm and jurisdiction. Yeah. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions on death, dying, the Four Noble Truths?
We have Savita's raising her hand. Go ahead, Savita.
Okay.
Okay. This is more than a question, maybe my experience, because I've been through death at the age of 18. I was diagnosed with cancer with only 25% of survival. So it was like, for me, it was a calmer one when I listened to it the first time, when it was it was not revealed to me, but yeah, accidentally I got to know that. And it was like, okay, I was literally blank. It was a calm state of mind, because whatever is meant to happen, it is meant to happen. It's whatever you said, that don't resist it. There was not resistance there. And moreover, I don't know what time I've got to live. That made me more energetic person to live more life. I mean, to every moment by moment. What you have enjoyed. The best thing the doctors and family could do, they were doing the best they could do. And I always knew that. The best part is what I could do on my part, do what I enjoy, at the same time, make them feel that I'm happy. And even I should be happy internally. And even at that time, I was bestowed with wonderful friends who came by me to bring that smile, extra smile and all. I feel, I think the acceptance and whatever you're talking about, non-resistance, that makes the journey much better. And you can live every moment.
Yeah, so two things is that it's very inspiring and gives you a fresh new perspective in life when you've studied people. So there's people in America where as soon as the doctor says you have cancer, you have 6 months to live, you know, the doctor gives it to you kind of straight. They're not there to hold your hands. You know, they have to also detach from being too attached to the patient. And we've had warriors, human warriors. As soon as they get the cancer diagnosis, they're like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to do chemo. I'm going to go out and play tennis. And they live their life as if this thing doesn't even exist. Right?
Yeah.
And that to me was like, wow. I had Miss Doan, who had hepatitis and then cirrhosis, and then she had was it liver cancer after that. She was in the Christian world, and she told me, she says, it is what it is, it can't be what it ain't. I'm ready to go victoriously. I am ready to go as a warrior to the great Lord himself. I mean, she was really, she was prepared for it. And I was like, wow.
Actually, maybe the strength comes from somewhere. I don't know what strength it comes off. I mean, it's not that, because as soon as I came to know, the same day I went to decided, okay, I'll be writing my board exams. I took my hall ticket to write my board exams. I don't know whether I live, but I just love studying. I go, let me do what I love. Just be write my exams.
So keep up the good work. Just keep up the good work. And you know, be victorious. You know, you came, you conquered, and then you left. Three things right there. We came.
And another thing is that self is much easier when we see the family member's death. That is self is much. I feel the self is much easier when we work on a closed one, seeing dying or their death and their impact on us. I think that is much heavier. That is what I feel.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Venerable. Thank you so much for your wonderful teachings. I can totally relate to it. I'm in New Jersey, so the way you're talking and everything is so relatable. It's like I'm talking to a neighbor or a friend. So, and you touched upon so many things so wonderfully, simply. And I have a neighbor. She's a Caucasian Christian. She's 40 and she has 3 kids, and she just got diagnosed with cancer too. And we just got to know that it's a brain cancer and she probably has a year to live. So I've been meeting her, and we've been doing some meditations. She's new to meditation and Buddha and the Dharma, but we have been doing things, and she is starting to see things from a new perspective. Also, there is, there's always a 1% chance of making it, like because there's always exceptions. So she wants to keep the hope alive for her 3 kids. But at the same time, with the teachings and what you said, we are trying to also see that, both things are possible. She's just across the road from me, and I tell her that, I go to meet you. I cross the road and meet you. You have a diagnosis. I don't. But yet when I cross the road, I may just get hit by a car, and who knows, like I'm in the heaven or wherever before you. So we joke about it, and we do things together and trying to maximize the time. But at the same time, there's this thing that she wants to be there, for the kids. So what would you suggest? What more? So say, for example, for the next year, what more can I do with her, help her do altogether, so that, it's much more easier to accept whatever comes, and we hold things lightly and not very tightly, like we want this to happen and we don't want this to happen. So we're coming from that. Thank you.
If she is still very strong, very awake, alert, conscious, and breathing normally, it's a year left, but pretend like it's 6 months. Don't ever think that a year is a full year. Medicine can be wrong. It's a good time to do a life review, because so typically, right before a person died, they do a life review. There's hopefully, you get this flashback, and all the good things you've done and all the negative things that you have done will flash in front of you before you pass away. What we want here is to be at peace at the moment of death. If you're at peace at the moment of death and you let go of greed, hatred, and ignorance, you're more likely to take a favorable rebirth. So a life review while a person is still living would include journaling, would include making peace with people in the past. Again, forgive and ask for forgiveness. A lot of meditation that aims to ease any mental pain, any physical pain. Vipassana meditation will help out a lot. You see, today when we do the guided meditation on dying, see, at the moment right now, at this moment right now with all of you, I want you guys to take two deep breaths. Ready? Let's do it. And when you're ready, you can relax your concentration and come back to the sound of my voice. What you just did there, you can do to anyone, your loved one, your friends, your family, and to yourself, and remind yourself that with each breath confirms how awake and alive you are in this moment. So a friend going through death and dying process is that people are very self-conscious about me, my, and I. Me, my, and I in the Anatalaka Sutta. And so we want them to have that balance, the middle way of not way too much self-involvement because it compounds suffering because of the disease. But we bring them into as much in the present moment as possible by and through the practice and teachings of meditation. So you read together, you read the suttas together, because it's very powerful when you read the words out of the book and you see it unfolding in front of you. And within that exercise alone, if you were to read it out of a book right now, where it says, every breath confirms how awake you are. Every breath you take, every breath you breathe confirms how alive you are, how conscious you are right now. What a joy that brings right now in this moment. And anyone who's ever got nasal problems, difficulty breathing, at the time of this talk, I'm actually dealing with a pinched nerve on the right side of my neck that makes breathing very difficult. I've actually can't move more than a couple inches in bed over the past week. And when I breathe hard, it hurts. So then I remind myself, I'm like, yeah, well, at the moment of death, that's probably what you're going to be feeling. So people don't realize how grateful a normal breath actually is until you find out. Just like what is happiness? Well, happiness is not having a toothache. Ever have a toothache before? Yeah, how happy were you that day? Right? Stuff that we already have built in us and that we don't focus on the gratefulness of that. So my last suggestion is help her do a life review, research that, right? Ever since she was born up until now, be at peace with the links of influence, the practice of dependent origination. See the whole links of influence, and that come to term and peace with that very quickly. Own it, own that narrative quickly. Then the process of detaching and letting go, and let go of everything. Let go of loved one that she's got. Let go of resentment, anger. Let go of everything. And at that moment when she can finally let go and be at peace with everything, it's a beautiful journey forward, right? And using the stories out of the book, say example, if you select teachings of the Buddha, study arahantship, the 4 stages of enlightenment, it gives people hope, something to look forward to. We need something to look forward to every day. It's part of the happiness ingredient. Life is stale when you have nothing to look forward to. If I told you all, I look forward to seeing you guys next time for another Dhamma talk, and everyone's like, yes, we get to see another young monk. We get to let's see what he's got in store for us. I'm looking forward to it. We can't wait for Mr. Shanti to announce the next date, right? But if I said today's, that's going to be it. This is all you get. You don't buy one, get one free. Sorry. Everyone's like, we have nothing to look forward to. Back to the ordained life. It's the mundane life. So always have something to look forward to, and help her that there's something to look forward to, in the afterlife too. Make it fun, interesting. I do one-on-one sessions, and I'll probably expand on this with my project, with the death meditation, and I aim to make it fun. Every journey in life should be fun, no matter what stage you're in. The stage where you're born, the stage where you're a teenager, the stage of trying to make sense of life, and the end of stage should all be fun. Why cry about it? It's a journey, point A, point B. And we have this beautiful thing called the Dhamma, and we have the Sangha that helps you understand the Dhamma. And you have this raft, on the way. Yes, ma'am.
I think the question is, for her, I feel it's like her youngest kid is 11 and the oldest is 14. So when she sees the kids and the husband, what I felt was the more was the pain for, they don't get to have her as they grow up. Because she still has her mother, her parents, and she's 40 and the kids are very young. So also they haven't told the kids yet, like they know that we just found out like 3 weeks ago. She's a school teacher. She was teaching till the day before her diagnosis. All she had is like a little headache, and then it turned out to be a brain cancer. She just had a surgery, and now she's told that it's grade 4. And so it's just progressing so quickly that the kids don't even know. They do know that she was having issues, she had a surgery, and that's it. So this is from yesterday. And so what do we tell the kids and the whole, like how Dharma can help? I understood what you said about her, and I think probably you can work on that. But the kids' situation in her mind is like something like, oh, this is, as you said, it's unfair for the kids.
Yes. So it's important to bring the kids to understand the 4 noble truths, also the first noble truths, so that they expect what's happening slowly. With kids, you have to be sensitive, very, very sensitive, but eventually they have to see the true nature of reality of what's going on with their mom. Now, because this is an urgent situation, and this is actually my specialty, which is the urgent care monk, right? The TikTok 911 monk, is that she needs to start making videos, get a GoPro camera and start giving instructions. And now as a teacher, she understands human development stages, and she needs to now visualize when they're at certain ages, what does the mom want them to know? A living legacy and a living instructions from the mother, so that, all right, hey, Haley, now you're 16. I know mommy can't be there with you, but 16, I want you to enjoy your birthday as much as you can, and stay away from those boys. All right. So make it fun and interesting and make them laugh. She needs to visualize how they're going to see this through a screen when she's not there anymore. All right. So they're going to be watching, they're going to be paying very close attention, and how important it is for their growth and development later in life, because she now has to fill in the gap of the potential missing void in a child's life, because they can, without it, we're trying to fill it in as much as we possibly can using technology and the best available science we know. Without it, growing up could be, their growth could be stunted, and they could take, unhealthy choices later in life. But talking to the kids, it would help to get a counselor, multiple counselors to see. You guys have to observe their level of understanding and comprehension and perception before using. Got to be surgical precision with words, because you don't want them to freak out, and it could affect their sleep and provoke anxiety. So it's a slow, gradual conversation. It's not like a blunt black and white right away. You just ease them into it. So then when the moment comes, you guys know is that, look, whatever religious preference is, whether it be Jesus Christ, Siddhartha Gautama, Shiva, Krishna, is like, listen, mommy's going to go sail towards the sun. And, we're all going to have to sail towards the sun. But, one day, hopefully we get to meet each other again, right? In this place, call it the Cool Kids Club, right? Whether it be nirvana, heaven, you name it, right? If you make them understand that, they're like, oh, okay. So it's just a temporary delay in time in meeting again. It gives them hope. So all these messages of hope, something to look forward to, and understanding the first noble truth, because eventually they're going to have to learn it. If we want our kids to grow up right, in a healthy manner, the first noble truth need to be emphasized at a younger age, then they're prepared for what's ahead in their older stages. So I hope that helps.
Yes. Thank you so much, Rida. That was very
Venerable, do we have time for the meditation?
We do. We do.
Let's
These
do
are
it.
urgent questions for an
There's
urgent care. Yes.
always time for death meditation.
At this time, everyone would like to get in your favorite position and posture in preparation for meditation.
And if you have a casket lying by close by, you can lie down in the casket.
And if you hear that machine, it's called flatline. I'm already provoking anxiety. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So everyone relax and get in your favorite meditation position with our back straight, awareness of our posture, with our shoulders relaxed. With a small smile on our face. And the right hand over the left hand with the two thumbs barely touching each other. We take our first 3 deep breaths. After the completion of your 3rd breath, we now enter into meditation on the subject of Asubha Kamatana, meditation on our impending death. We first visualize our lungs as a tree that is capable of inhaling precious oxygen. We are capable of breathing in this moment. We are living. As we notice each of our breaths, we notice if they're long, we notice if they are short. We notice if they are shallow. We notice if they are deep. With each breath, confirms you are still alive. With each breath, confirms how awake we are. I am here. I know that I am here. at peace we are, knowing that we are here. One must enjoy every breath afforded to you. The gift of the universe to you. Functioning, all of our organs functioning in good working order helps us breathe. However, with each breath, we realize the clock is ticking. Every minute, you take about 17 breaths. Oh, how many minutes in a day? 60 minutes in 1 hour. 12 hours to get things done. The majority for rest and sleep. We realize every day we inch closer and closer to our deadline. Each breath, each day is each step towards the inevitable. Towards our expiration date. How will I die? Will it be because of high blood pressure? How will I die? Will it be a sudden stroke? Will it be the slow aging process? Will I know when my organs begin to fail? Could today be my last day to receive the teachings? Could next week be me? The lottery of life. All of us is a lottery ball. in a box that is ever shuffling. The box of karma that's always shuffling the cards, the balls. There are numbers on these balls. Your age is the number. When will my numbers be up? I embrace each day with every breath I have. To live harmoniously, to live peacefully, to live intelligently, to live consciously, to live wisely. As we conclude our meditation on how we die, where are we going to die, when are we going to die, we take our last 3 deep breaths. At this time, you can relax your concentration. You can arise from your meditation back to the sound of my voice. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I think we're doing really great on time, Mr. Shanti.
Well, thank you for being generous with your time and for sharing the powerful Dharma talk and answering people's questions with such a lot of patience and depth. And I feel all of us have had a good reminder of the importance of recollecting. What are the 2 words you used? Anupassana, and you used 2 words.
Sati and Anusati, which is Pali. Well, so in life, you always want to remember those 2 things. Because, so, you know, everyone, Sati is mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Here in the present moment, it's like everyone get that. But also to remember to observe how your mind is jumping. Always remember to observe how your mind is jumping. And Anusati is the recollection of the teachings that everyone has been engaged in ever since Rainbow Sangha has been established. All of the teachings that you have received are gold and diamonds coming out from teachers. As soon as they open their mouth and they teach, this is a golden diamond. This is a, you know, and this is the raft that you will need to effectively hang on to temporarily to get from point A to point B. right? The shore of suffering that we all are in, and the shore of liberation, true inner peace, true inner liberation, true inner freedom. And so the ability to recollect, right? We have the 4 protective meditation functions found in the Visuddhimagga, the path to purification in Buddhism. And it is the recollection of the 9 qualities of a Buddha. So if you want it, it gives you a lot of strength when doubt arises to cultivate 9 qualities just like him. You have metta, which is loving kindness. Always be good to yourself, wishing yourself be free, be happy, be healthy, and others. And then recollection of the 32 parts of the body so that we are not so attached to our bodies. And finally, recollection on death to shake you up a little bit, necessarily so, to live a full, confident, ferocious, quality life, life with no regrets, no resentment, a blameless life, said the Buddha. And how beautiful is that, to imagine that you have the power to change today, to forgive and ask for forgiveness, and no longer hang on to any anger or resentment, and to see the light of day. And every breath you take from this moment on forward confirms how awake you are. And what we do with this awakeness and consciousness is within our realm. And so as we conclude today, I'd like for everyone to think that I am a physician today, and the physician tells you that you have 720 hours to live. And if you have 720 hours to live after today, what would you do differently? And I'm pretty sure you guys would rearrange everything. It's a good exercise, and it's something that I always tell myself, especially now in the midst of writing my book, so I can't really be lazy. And I always remind myself, everything I teach, I do. And you guys have been very wonderful crowd and audience, staying up late to receive the gift of the Dhamma. And thank you for having me. I'm here for you and for all. And I will be back at any point in time anyone needs me to give additional teachings, compressing 84,000 teachings. Flatline. Dr. Shanti, line 1. Dr. Shanti, line 1.
I'm coming.
To compress 84,000 teachings of the Buddha, for everyone to understand on the simplest form, in-depth, broad, but also narrow. We'll try to make it work, but I think everyone understands today's talk.
Yes. How do people find you? What's the best place? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is it YouTube? Is there some other website? What's the best way to reach you?
So Google, Jidao Monk, TRIDAO Monk on Google. Everything will come out there.
Okay.
But yes, I'm on all of the platforms. And I also have a Discord server that runs a class just like this. And we're studying, so I assert in my program, the rapid realization program, because we don't have time, remember? So it needs to be rapid, and you got to realize quickly, is that it's difficult to meditate when you have things going on in your life, depression, anxiety. So in order to address depression and anxiety, we use the best available science we know about the mind, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral education. So we study that first. It's a 300-page book that can be done within quite fairly less than a month. That gives us a way to clear the way for us to meditate and then move on with the teachings of the Buddha. It's a small project that I'm leading with 300 students there from now until the completion of my book, because it kind of helps me with my book, to refresh all of everything in Western psychology and Eastern philosophy together for the modern day stressed humans.
Wonderful. I'd like to invite Sandhya, who also invited you to be here with us and put us in touch with you to give a vote of thanks on our behalf.
Thank you so much, Venerable. It was such a delight having you here with our Sangha, with all your precious, like, as you said, golden diamonds coming out of your mouth. And you're so cheerful, and you bring all the heavy knowledge,
Yes.
the knowledge of the Buddha in such a simplistic and realistic way. And all the tips that you gave our Sangha members who are having a trying time, it was really helpful for everyone. And because I think we're all going to, face all this at some point in our lives. So it was really, really, I'm really, really thankful and grateful to have you here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and my blessing to all of you. May you all be well. May you all be happy. May you all be free. May you always be healthy. May you realize the light of your own true nature. May you all be healed and be a source of healing for others. Sadhu. Sadhu. Sadhu.
We're going to do
Have
a
a wonderful
small little. Yes, loved it. And we're going to do a little symbol called. We do a symbol called Mayurma, which is infinite blessing. So we'll all do that. If you can go to gallery view, you now how to see everyone's face. If you go to gallery view, you'll see all of us making a nice symbol for you. So take your hands up. Just watch us do this. Wonderful. So this is a way of sending loving wishes.
Oh, wow, how beautiful. This is similar to the wave they do at the stadiums when they do the stadium wave.
Something like that. All right. Thank
How
you so much,
beautiful.
and have a beautiful day. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Lots of love.